Jai Hind and welcome to another episode of Voice of Red Hackle, a podcast of the cadets by the cadets for the cadets. Today we have with us Miss Kanak Agnihotri, an alumni from Indraprasth College for Women from 7 Delhi Girls Battalion. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. Jai Hind, everyone. I'm Kanak Agnihotri. Professionally, I'm a lawyer, but by passion, I'm a model. I recently represented Uttar Pradesh in Miss Universe India. Talking about my NCC journey, it's the most beautiful part of my life so far. It has shaped me a lot, and I had the privilege of doing Thal Sena camp in 2018, post which I did Amar Jawan Jyoti, and I was also the part of Chief Minister's rally and Himachal trekking camp. And that's all about my NCC journey.
That's
I'm
great, ma'am.
really looking forward to the podcast today.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, from being an NCC cadet to representing your state in Miss Universe India, how has been this transformation and journey?
It was a beautiful journey. I wouldn't call it like a transformation because for me it was more like an evolution. Like I evolved. I remember walking into the parade premises as an introvert, shy girl,
Right.
and then, you know, to becoming JUO, leading the camps, being camp senior, and to embracing life challenges and, till my pageant journey. I think NCC really helped me build that inner confidence
Right.
and that mindset which is required, the never give up attitude, and not just for the sake of saying it. When you go to any camp, you go with an attitude that, I'm gonna make it no matter what. And also, you learn to handle rejections, you learn to
Right, ma'am.
take everything as a learning experience. So that naturally comes to you as a cadet. So there's this saying, right? Once a cadet, always a cadet, and I
Right.
truly believe in that. And even though I'm not in NCC anymore, but that thing always stays in me.
So, ma'am, there is this general conception that drill and ramp walk, they are two opposite things actually. So, what do you have to say on this?
लोगों को लगता है कि ये डिफरेंट चीज़ें हैं लाइक रैम्प वॉक मोर ऑफ ग्लैमर कैमरा लाइट्स एंड ड्रिल you're there rough and like dust and everything but I think जो core होता है ना दोनों का वो same है the focus the balance that you need before the drill that when you're on the drill ground on the parade ground you're there you have to focus on that and the balance you need the practice most importantly practice you require for that drill and the practice you need to do for that walk it's the same amount of passion dedication I
Right,
think
ma'am.
that I used to have before the jitters that I used to have before the drill test and before my ramp walk round it's the same feeling and the mindset with which I used to approach my drill test and with which I approach my walk it's the same.
They're same. So that's how
Yes.
they are aligned.
Yes.
So I'm not just in armed forces, but in many fields and professions. NCC cadets are going everywhere and they're excelling everything, right? So how do you think that NCC is an instrument to nation building?
It is definitely a very powerful instrument instead. I feel that if you're going to any field and if you're an NCC cadet, it automatically makes you stand out.
Right.
उन्हें पहले से पता होता है, okay, if he or she is an NCC cadet, वो कर लेगी. She'll be disciplined, she'll be punctual, she'll be on time. Whatever work or whatever expectations we have from him or her, they'll do it.
Right, ma'am.
So it's the mindset that NCC gives you. It's the inherent qualities that you develop through that 2-3 period of training in NCC that takes you forward in every walk of life, not just military. Obviously, it's a military, like pre-military sort of a training, but not just military in every field, be it law, be it medicine, everywhere and we see so many renowned personalities they were ex NCC cadets so we are able to make out that okay they have that background by virtue of which they're able to project those values. In my personal experience I think NCC has really helped me to make that sort of mark that if somebody is expecting any professional behavior from me I do that I commit well and it is something that NCC has really taught me. And a lot of my batchmates, actually, when I see them, they all are excelling so well in their field. Some have joined military, some are doing so well in management, in
Right, ma'am.
corporate, in law, everywhere. And you know, myself, I am doing modeling. I'm also a registered advocate now, and even in pageantry. I think it is through NCC, वो जो
Right,
mindset
ma'am.
तब बनता है, that personality that you develop, it is very helpful. Which is why, you know, if anyone asks me about NCC, I always tell them just go for it. Don't think twice. Just go for it.
Right, ma'am. So, and ma'am, how was your experience with Miss Universe India?
It was amazing. It was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. It was my dream to be there in the finale, you know. When I was a little kid, I used to watch Sushmita Sen and all of these Miss
So that
Indias.
that's when you got
Yeah,
motivated.
I think that was the first thing that stayed in my mind, that really, uh, you know, made me dream about it. Ki, okay, I have to be there. I have to try it. And जब हम छोटे थे तो वो जीके के क्वेश्चंस आते थे कि हु वाज द फर्स्ट मिस यूनिवर्स एंड
Right,
ऑल ऑफ दैट सो you know, that was my first encounter with what Miss India is. And cut to now, when I actually, you know, I sort of, I think, manifested that being on Miss Universe India stage. It's not just about, you know, that one walk, that one question and answer, or what you see on camera. It's a totally different experience. You work on so many levels. It's a total personality development, I would say. There are so many rounds that we have in a
right,
pageant. We have interview, we have walk, we have so many sub contests. And the best part about my Miss Universe India journey, I think, it was the national costume round. So in that, we have to represent our state, and we have to wear a costume or an outfit that truly represents what our state is.
right. And that should be there should be a message also with
There
that.
should be a powerful advocacy or a message to it. And I think that was my favorite part. I remember we had girls from all the states in India, not just India, we had NRI contestants as well.
Ooh,
So girls were dressed up, beautifully decked up in their, you know, respective state outfits. It was so culturally enriching, and I think that gave me goosebumps. Even when I remember that, it
right,
gives me jitters. So I think that was my one of my fondest memories from the pageant. And also the advocacy part, I would say. A lot of people don't know that in pageants we have a beauty with purpose segment, in which we have to pick up an advocacy, where we have to give a message that what we want to speak for.
right, ma'am. So what was
Because
your pick this time?
okay, so I've been working with a project since a very long time. It's called Ek Pehel, and in that, I associated with children who are differently abled,
Right,
who are not able to hear, and who are not able to speak. And it was such an enriching experience, and I'm so grateful every day that, you know, I'm blessed that I'm able to hear and able to speak. While there are so many children who, by virtue of birth, they don't have such things,
right.
and they don't have facilities also. We are so we are so privileged that we have so many resources around
We
us.
are
We have good education, we have good opportunities, employment, jobs, and all. But those children, they don't know what their future beholds for them after 12th. They don't have a lot of opportunities,
exactly.
and there are not many educational facilities also for them. So my primary focus through my advocacy was to raise awareness for these children, that, you know, just because they're differently abled doesn't mean they're different from us.
Right. They hold so much potential in them.
They're
And
so beautiful inside out.
exactly.
When they smile, their eyes twinkle, and
It
they
is
have so
there.
much more to do.
So they just require that one push,
That
and that
one
one
push,
sort of support.
opportunities and resources.
Right.
So I thought, what better than Miss India, and a platform like this where so many thousands of people watch it. So it would be a
Exactly.
powerful message to give, and to raise awareness about it.
Ma'am, tell us about a time in your NCC days when you broke stereotypes.
I think my participation in NCC was in itself breaking of stereotypes in my family, especially because I come from a place where all of this was never a thing. It was never done before. Nobody from my family like was into sports or military or NCC. So I think my participation in itself was that
So,
move.
what motivated you to actually join NCC then?
I remember going to my, brother's school, and there I saw a few cadets
Right.
marching in and escorting the guests and doing piloting. I think that really intrigued me. I was really interested in knowing what is it about. And although in school I didn't get permission to join NCC, but when I went to college, I made it a point that I am going to join NCC. And my parents were a bit not in support of it, but then when they saw me putting that hard work, putting that dedication, they
So then they
started
agreed,
support.
right?
Yeah. And I think more than breaking stereotypes, women participating in NCC is such an independent move. Lifting rifles, marching, and standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself, inculcating all those values. It's about becoming and discovering yourself even more.
Exactly.
And you end up inspiring not just, people around you, but so many girls who are looking up to you. And
Right.
personally speaking, for me, not just, it was never my thing that I want to break stereotypes. I just knew one thing that, okay, I am going to this camp, I have to do it. I have to push my limits no matter what. My senior always used to say this thing that, Kanak, okay, don't limit yourself. Keep pushing, don't give up.
Right.
So this was my thing. And when I started my journey in NCC, I was not able to do drills, and everything was really new to me. And I took my own time to get into all of that. And I used to get this a lot that, okay, maybe, she won't be able to do any camp or that sort. But then I took it personally, and I poured every sort of effort, every ounce of hard work into it.
Right.
And I just gave it my all. In my second year, I remember I ended up doing the maximum number of camps in my college, out of which one was a national camp, Thal Sena camp. And it was a really physically taxing camp. We had to do like a lot of activities throughout the day.
It is.
Throughout
It
the day,
is.
yeah.
At times it becomes hectic and it
It
challenges you
does, it
physically,
does.
but yeah, it's all about overcoming challenges only
But
at the end.
it has its own sweet learning to it.
It is
It
there.
has its own memories to it. The pre camps, I still remember waking up at 4 a.m., running to attend the cadre and obstacle training,
Right.
service subjects, all of those things, tent pitching competitions. That is such a lovely memory to relish.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, how do you think that these camps they prepared you to handle pressure?
I think automatically, when you get in that routine of waking up at 4 a.m., you have so many things to do. Every day you're participating and preparing for one competition or the other. It automatically prepares you to face pressure.
Right, ma'am.
Because nothing comes announced. you know it's always the impromptu things that you keep doing in NCC. For example, there's this event you have to urgently participate in, or there's this competition coming
Exactly.
up. Even in camps there are so many activities that happen. I remember the cultural closing ceremony. It is such a beautiful thing in the camp that everyone comes together and they prepare a
Right.
good performance. So all of these things really help you to push your limits. And same goes in the pageant. Even though you have an itinerary of all the rounds, sub contests, but there are few things that come all impromptu. And
Right,
that's
ma'am.
where, going back to the NCC thing, that you're always prepared to face anything that life throws at you. You have that attitude that no matter what the situation is, I have to keep myself uh, collected. I have to keep myself composed, and I have to face it.
So, ma'am, before we end the podcast, we have a small rapid fire round for you. So the questions goes like, drill ground in one word.
Karm Bhumi.
Right. Stage spotlight in one word.
Calling. My calling.
Right. India in one word.
Adbhut. Incredible.
Ooh, that's great. Your favorite NCC memory.
I think it was when we used to go for that Delhi darshan, sitting in that canto, and all
Right.
of us, and not just that. In fact, I have a lot of them, and
Enjoy.
one of my fondest remains preparing uniform before any competition, like setting up that crease
Right.
and yeah,
You keep everything
beautiful
aligned
memories.
there.
Yes,
So the one thing that you miss about being an NCC cadet.
I think the friendships and the moment that I used to spend with all my fellow cadets, that is something I really miss. It just gives me nostalgia every time I
Right.
think about it, and the fact that we're still connected. And one of the most beautiful friendships that I've had is from NCC.
That's great. One cause closest to your heart.
It's working for differently able children, which also happens to be my advocacy. And for the same, I'm also associated with certain NGOs that are working for that cause. And I'm sure that in future, I'll be able to do and contribute a lot to it. And that's what I really look forward.
So, ma'am, out of this journey that you sailed through, what is going to be your piece of advice to the audience or the cadets who are listening to you?
Okay, so my key takeaway that I say from NCC is to, as I said, not to give up. Embrace any situation that life throws at you. Just remember that you are in it for a reason. Take everything as a learning experience. Right. NCC teaches you a lot to deal with competition in a very healthy way, to take rejections also in a very healthy way. So I think taking everything as a learning lesson and just going with the flow of life, that is my key takeaway from NCC.
Right, ma'am. And that was such a lovely conversation with you. We are honored to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.